Yeah, it's raining. It didn't start long ago, but yeah, it's coming down a bit. Hello, goblins. It's Chris, Eldritch Pipes. Doing an episode of this week's Pipes that I didn't think I was going to be doing because I got my dates mixed up. The boys on half-term holidays next week, not this week. So this week I was making Pipes. I'm smoking some Tilbury. It's been a few weeks. I thought I'd give myself a little break and enjoy it even more when I came back to it, which I am. Right. Oh, yeah. I'm drinking. Actually, I'll show you the bottle. Some dandelion and burdock. As you can see, the bottle's empty. And it's quite hard to get a good dandelion and burdock because everything's got sweeteners in these days, and I cannot tolerate sweeteners. It's just, I can taste them, and they taste foul. So, and getting a carbonated drink in the UK now that doesn't have sweeteners in, it is next to impossible. So we have to go. That Mr. Fitzpatrick. You have to order that online from like a specialist. It's a faff, but for me it's worth it. But it did lead me to lament that we have no root beer in the UK. I really got a taste for it when I was in Chicago. And it's like, why don't we have root beer? It's such a main flavour. Why don't we have it? I mean, I suppose dandelion and burdock is the UK version of root beer. But they have the same medicinal quality, but they are different. It turns out Mr. Fitzpatrick does do a root beer, and it's very good, and I get it from time to time. But it's like the only one. And Mr. Fitzpatrick hasn't been in business that long. So it's a fairly recent development. And with one supplier, well, it's risky business. If they go out of business, then there's no root beer at all. Not without sweeteners in. There are, funnily enough, two other options in the UK for root beer. But neither of them are quite right. One of them is called Bundaberg, which is an Australian import. And A, it's got sweeteners in, and B, it's just not quite right. Something about it is not quite right. It's too fruity. And the soda folk, well, now also, it didn't used to have sweeteners in, but now it does. And they add maple syrup, which is nice, but it adds a different slant to the flavour. So yeah, hey ho, that's dandelion and burdock and root beer for you. Now, I did another pen blank release this week. I thought I'd show you guys. This is the Mother of Pearl. It's a really cool one. I made 21 of these. These are 19mm diameter, 150mm long. So pipe makers will be able to get, a pen maker will get one pen, but a pipe maker will get two stems out of that. So I've spent all week trying to wrap my heads around setting up a little Shopify shop. I wanted a little place where I could sell stuff that they wouldn't take a huge cut. Etsy, I may have complained about Etsy before. Take a huge cut. Too much. They're too greedy. But Shopify are quite good because it's really bare bones. Oh, they're going out. And it is bare bones, the Shopify. But that's fine. Bare bones works for me. But it means that I need to provide a link. So if anyone's interested, what I do is I say, just get in contact me and I'll give you the link to the shop. Because you won't find it by Googling it, I don't think. Having said that, I haven't tried to Google it, but hey ho. Oh. And this evening I'm going to go and see, after I do this video and have a bit of tea, I'm going to go see Garth Marenghi doing a book tour. If you don't know who Garth Marenghi is, and you've never seen Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, or heard of Man to Man with Dean Lerner, or that kind of thing, I feel sorry for you. It's very funny. It's kind of like he's a character that spoofs Stephen King, basically, more or less, and writers of that ilk. And he had a show, one season, called Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. But now the guy, Matthew Holness, has actually written some horror books. The first one was called Terror Tome. That's very funny. And he's just released another one, Incarcerat. And what's really amusing, of course, is his book tour. Most authors go on a book tour to promote the book that they've written. Matthew writes a book so that he can go on tour to do his thing, to do his show. So it's really interesting. I'm looking forward to it. That should be good. That's in a couple of hours. Well, I had to do the video today because I have to post these pipes tomorrow. One of them. Oh yes, which reminds me. Yeah, my brain is like a box of cats at the moment. Reminds me, I have one pipe that's available. I am denied about this one. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with this pipe, and then I thought, no, I'll make it available, and then I'll see what happens. Then I'll decide. It's fate. But anyway, the first one is a commission. This is the one that's not available. In form, it's a Dr. Silence reading pipe. For those who may have just discovered me on this video, Dr. Silence pipe is a reading pipe. It has a couple of design features tailored for reading. First of all, the length of the pipe is 7.5 inches. The point is to keep the bowl as far away from your face, keep the smoke away from your face. It's not a church warden, but it's a good inch and a half over a standard pipe length. No, you're gone, that's fine. Secondly, the bowl itself is 2 inches deep, so you're looking to a good long smoke. This pipe was commissioned by Jeremy, and it's a black sandblast, but with some interesting features. First of all, he wanted the amber flame stem, so I had to bespoke cast him some amber flame from the secret supply that I have left. All right. And secondly, the theme of this pipe was kind of like walking into darkness with something in the deep casting a light, so the front of the pipe catching the light. That's the idea there, which I quite liked. So it's a very, not bespoke, but it's a very specifically placed contrast blast, which was pretty cool actually. In some ways I wish I could have contrast blast the whole pipe. Black and orange is obviously quite high contrast. Pretty nice. Some asymmetric plateau, really slanting at an angle there. That's how I like it. If I can. I like it sloping, and the more extreme the angle of the rim, the more it pleases me. It's not for everyone. Some people have requested reading pipes with as level a rim as possible, and I try and find blocks that can do that, if that's what you want. But left to my own devices, I like an asymmetric rim. It's character, I think. So that's that guy. Oh, I did another Briar buy last week. Well, I suppose it was just over 2 weeks ago, and the Briar arrived. When was it? I think it was yesterday, in fact. Another load of blocks. And I did the buy early, quite early this time. I mean, I've been having to buy earlier and earlier anyway, because I have to dry my blocks myself now. They come damp. Although this delivery wasn't as damp as previous ones have been. I haven't taken a moisture measurement on them just yet, but just from the feel of them, I could tell they weren't as damp as before. Because it seems that the Briar supplier that I use, that I like, has become more and more popular. It used to be that the Briar would only ship it when it was like bone dry. You know, when it would get to my door, it was like ready to go. Now I have to dry it for between 2 and 3 months now, which is a little pain, but I kind of got used to it now. You kind of have to adjust your Briar stock. You know, if you know you're receiving it dry, then you can just like order it like 2 weeks before. So you might just have a few blocks left. You order it, it gets there, it's fine, you're ready to go. Knowing that you've got to dry it for 3 months, that shifts your whole process. Yeah. You need to have a whole load of Briar still dry and order. Otherwise, you can get into a state. I almost did last Christmas. I almost made my Briar buy too late. I thought, I'll not do that again. Anyway, this is the pipe. This is the pipe that's available. I haven't made one of these in a good little while. And there was a version that I had in mind, a colour version that I had in mind that I really wanted to do. And so this is the one that I've done it on. This one's available. So hands on buzzers. It's a carnivorous snail. So it's like that. But not just any carnivorous snail. As you can see, he's got a red tinged foot. To do the coloration is the fire snail. Google fire snail if you've not seen a fire snail before. They are super cool. Black with a red tinged foot, and super cool. So that's what I really wanted to do for this guy. It's if you haven't seen one of these before, it's a reverse calabash bowl. And it was kind of, the first couple that I made of these, it wasn't a reverse calabash. I just hadn't thought that far ahead. I was thinking of just the external shape, and so many people said, "Oh, is it a reverse calabash?" Because obviously it looks like you've done a reverse calabash. But I thought, yeah, well, obviously I must do it from now on as a reverse calabash. So for the last couple of years, it is a reverse calabash. It's a really fun. Every time I make it, it like absorbs all of my attention. There's so many features. First of all, there's the snail shell itself. As you might be able to imagine, like carving like curved surfaces in a tight space is somewhat challenging. There is the sort of the fluted foot design. The shape is always impacted by the shape of the burl, because the plateau runs usually, depending on how it goes, it can sometimes come further back, but from under the shell, and comes all the way up to the chin of the pipe, or the front of the bowl. I suppose it doesn't really have a chin, does it? Did I mention the fluted foot? I've forgotten if I mentioned the fluted foot. Then the bowl does this kind of S-curve, a ragged S-curve, which tapers both sides, and kind of slants down to give some relief to the rim of the chamber, so that the chamber is sort of proud of the rim of the bowl, just a bit. Although one day I might do a version to really make that more extreme. Then you've got the calabash chamber itself. You can see the airway. That's lined with Delrin, and then making this it is a taper stem, but obviously it steps down from this large diameter. Just a light sandblast. Getting the sandblast nozzle into there to get some relief on every angle is always fun. It's quite a long stem as well. I think it's like nearly just shy of 5 inches, I think. I think it's like 4.5. So there you go, fire snail. If you're interested, send me an email. Alright. There we go. So, no pipe video next week. It'll be the week after. I see you guys again. Alright. Till next time, take it very easy. Your loyal pipe maker.